Call to order the Public Works Committee meeting for Tuesday, July 16th at 8:17. We've already had a sound meditation pledge of allegiance. Can I get a roll call, please?
Roll call, Chairperson Mathis.
Present.
Vice Chair Roman.
Present.
Member Cubillos.
Here.
Present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Interim Village Attorney Norman Powell, and Village Manager Christy Ellie.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, can I get approval of the agenda?
I'll move approval. Second.
Then properly moved in second. In favor?
Aye. Aye.
Approval of the minutes?
Chair, if I may, it's had me noted as when Christina was speaking, so the minutes were, like when you spoke, it had Roman.
Oh, okay,
and-
okay, yeah, had your, my name.
It does that once in a while. It's
They
something.
had it in all over the place.
I think it's
that
colorblind
minute.
too. Because it's thought I was urban at one point.
Maybe it's because we used to share a microphone.
Huh?
Maybe it's because we share a microphone, maybe?
Could be, I'm not sure.
Other than the incorrect names, did you read through it or
Yeah.
do you want to table it? Madam Mayor?
If there's a first, I'll second.
I'll-
I mean, if we're moving it, I just don't know if that's confusing to, how could we stop that from happening? Because it's continuing to happen. We
You
just
know-
started noticing.
You know what I've noticed? When Councilperson Irvine speaks, he says his name first and then he starts talking. He
So-
says, this is Irvine speaking, and then he says what he has to say.
Okay, so it's
I've noticed it in the meetings and in the minutes, and I've noticed. it.
So is that the fix? Is that, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind doing that, but.
Because I don't think it's a person that is transcribing. I think the dictaphone machine just does it. I don't know.
Doesn't see the difference between our voices.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, I don't know, but it just needs to, if we're posting these on the website, it needs to say who said what. Otherwise, that's not.
Let's
happening.
table these, and then I'll sit with the clerk and try to figure out what system, Moon and Light, what's the name of the company they're using or whatever. Did you have-
Two things. I'd be curious to see what the minutes of this meeting, because you all have been separated.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I think there's a greater conversation about the current subscribing court reporter type minutes that we're getting that we may want to possibly have, but not at this meeting.
I think it's less human, that's what I think the issue is.
No, I actually addressed it because I think it's been brought up several times. They also told me that you guys speak over each other. It's hard to tell. And Christia and Councilperson Roman were sharing a mic. And I think that when you're too close to each other, like you guys are not speaking directly into the mic. Sometimes you hear voices over each other. I mean, when I hired court reporter before, she quit on me from the first time because she says you speak, and you know the court reporter I'm talking about. She's like, you guys are talking out of turn. And I think the mayor addressed that in the last one, that we need to speak clearly and you need to speak in turn and into the mic. Now that they've been separated, it should be much better. But we have been discussing that maybe we're gonna go another route for minutes, like other municipalities have, where it's just action minutes. It's not minutes that are verbatim. This came about because, again, Councilperson Roman a while ago was addressing that one thing that she said that she didn't say it, and then it was like, okay, let's do it where it's not handled by me. But as other municipalities have been discussing that they do actions. When they want verbatim, they have to do it in this transcript because there's no way of catching everything you say. But action minutes is where it usually is done. We have to do them because we get audited. But actions just with things that pass, not what she said or he said or they said or what the audience said. No, for that you watch the video. So that's where we may be looking into for the new year. Right now we have it as a package deal, but I did speak to them and I did address them. And that's when they saw that actually we're sitting differently, they're like, okay, it's gonna work a lot better. But you still have to speak into the mic, and you have to speak directly, like if you're speaking to the audience, not to each other.
Mr. Attorney, there's a motion, I have a second, first and second, and I just decided to table it.
Well, you just withdraw the motion.
I will withdraw How much was withdrawn? We'll go into the agenda item. Again, with the track
That's a
report,
problem.
the first thing I did was when I sent it to your niece, was I said, just let everybody know there's a lot of stuff that was taken off, a lot of it was merged, but we're gonna discuss, and I actually said, I'm gonna let the committee discuss what we want to see on the track report. But I made sure that the nuts and bolts of the track report was still there. Go ahead. I'm giving you the floor. You all about the track report, it's on you.
I think we should go line by line.
Let's do it. Okay, Christy and I were on the phone for a while. I think we were about to drive each other crazy. Streetscape and village traffic calming. You know, a lot of these projects should be one project, although they're all over the village. I think that this will streamline a lot of this stuff. It was Christia's idea to put the stormwater projects separately, because it kept it clear on what was going on. Streetscape, okay, sorry, going back to streetscape. All projects pertaining to the overall appearance of the village, a village-wide beautification incentive for areas previously identified. All those are going to stay within the track report. I mean, put them back in, I just took them out. And he still has the main one that we were working on, which is I think the one that the mayor had. That one.
No, this is
That's a
one.
different?
This is public
Oh.
affairs. I'm
Oh, you're looking at the new one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
looking at the
okay.
new one.
All right. Do you have the
I'm
current one?
looking at yours right
Okay,
now.
perfect. We're on the same page. The maintenance of village-wide street signs, road work, and repairs, potholes, and so forth. I'm going to be meeting with Christia and Jose, and we're going to do a village property item. Everything will be identified as far as what's owned by the village, the cost to maintain it, the cost to repair it, and so forth. And hopefully I can get that before the mayor's report. Because she's probably gonna have that in her report. Any questions on that?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a meeting with the manager and the chief this past, I don't even remember what day, it was a couple days ago, it might have been yesterday. And one of the things that we talked about, it may be tied into this, well, not necessarily, but it's a little bit, let me see if you're gonna bring it up. No, one of the things that I mentioned, because the players are different, when we had David Roseman and we had another chief, and it was right after I became the mayor, I put together a mayor's task force, no, after 2016, it was my second term. And the purpose of the 30-year round of the mayor's task force was we had a realtor, we had a police officer, and we had 2 residents and myself, and we walked the streets. And we walked the streets in Elbert Town to really get a feel of what's going on. There's much different when you're on foot than when you're in a car. And I didn't really come up with the idea, I'm not that brilliant. I took the idea from the mayor of North Miami Beach. They called it Eyes on the Streets. And from that walk and tour that we did on foot, we created a 3-page Excel spreadsheet pointing out like overgrown trees covering stop signs and, you know, potholes that you could catch your foot, twist your ankle like I did when you're running, and all that good stuff. And nothing came of that. What I'm offering and what we suggested, and the manager and the chief and the mayor, we said, hey, maybe it's something that we will put together again, we'll kick off, and then pass the baton, right? Like have residents really be a part of that, because I think that really, I think residents would like that. You put a realtor on there, you put a police officer on it, and you put a designee from the manager on it, and a couple of residents, and then they put the spreadsheet, and we kind of have something to go on, because you know we can't do everything, it gets a little hard. So just an idea. I don't know if it's tied into that, but I think it was a great tool that was not well used, but again, we had different players in the time.
I think that would tie in here,
Yeah.
with this one as well.
And it really would be helpful to you, to the committee.
I agree.
What was it called again? Eyes on the-
Well, I did as part of the mayor's task force, but North Miami Beach calls it Eyes on the Streets.
A lot of it fell on, it was given to code enforcement, and,
It's a little both, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't followed. Yeah, there was no follow through with that. Why does everybody say everything's so personal?
El Jardine Stormwater Project. Oh, if you notice, I also took out identifying marks of who initiated it. I thought it would be a little more inviting if we just put the department. I just thought that's,
It's fine.
you know,
That's really, that's not necessary.
Yeah.
The only comment I have about El Jardín is just make note, it's good that you kept it as their own line item, because that is funded by the government.
Right.
So that's a project that you want to track, and so they can see where the money is going and what's been done, okay?
Now, I know we're gonna be putting this on the website, and I didn't put the expenses in here, but do we wanna put those in there? I mean, we have a budget, and it's just doubling the work. Do we wanna keep the expenses in there, or?
Can we circle back on that and say with the CFO?
Okay.
Thank you, good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, project review, Craig A. Smith, pump station location for, the project. To move forward, funding the project is a typo.
Sorry. Chair, if I may, can we just change that where it's not a pump station, easement?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did put pump stations in. I was
I don't want to confuse with the other water projects.
working, easy document, Your Honor. I was talking to the other Your Honor.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
And Christine and I were throwing stuff around, and she came up with park maintenance improvement, which would encompass all of the parks, saying of what needs to be revamped, what needs to be put into place, and it would also encompass the trash receptacles, the bus benches. What is the name of that park? I call it Arbor Day Park. What is the actual name of
Little
that park?
River Estates.
It is, that's the name of it? I
Unless we
thought
do-
that was the section.
Unless we decide to change it ever and name it something.
Okay,
That's
because
the-
I thought, but that's also the development section of El Portal, Little River, okay.
Little River Estates.
River Estates.
The only thing that you're missing here is, I see you itemized everything, the overruns good. The little library, did you want to add that on there? The little library?
That is something we're working on.
I didn't put it in, I'm sorry.
I thought we
It is
talked
good.
about it, it might be.
No, we did discuss it, I just did,
Yes, we're looking to buy a new one, yes, essentially.
because I was.
I did share that with
Did you put here also the village hall, the front? I didn't bring my glasses.
Let's put that on there.
Here.
We should definitely have that.
I don't see it.
Don't see it.
What are we doing?
The Village
The
Arbor
Village-
Park? What's Village Arbor Park?
The Little River Estates.
That's what I call
Oh, that's what you call it.
Arbor Day Park.
We couldn't think of the name,
Okay,
but we should.
okay, so yeah, you should add
The village hall?
yeah, the front of it.
Okay. All right, perfect, got it.
And while we're there, could I've been thinking about this, and I thought about it a lot when we were at the Arbor Day, that park there. I don't know, could we maybe look at something, getting some monies and maybe, I don't know, putting gym equipment or something that's useful?
Well, you do know that the nature trail
I know the nature
expansion
trail
got the
is-
money, just put
Right.
equipment out there.
Right, I understand that, but maybe something different in that area, it's just, there's a bench there, or two, maybe.
Put a little library.
I think we should have a little,
Like a little something to,
Listen, Councilperson Roman, you can recommend whatever you want, as long as it's got a maintenance plan attached to it.
correct, yeah, and that's what. my
No, we
next-
don't know.
Well, and that was gonna be my next, clearly it has to be part of the maintenance, but it already is. So if it's something, I don't know, artwork, can we,
The doors aren't that
Maybe
artwork.
get a donated piece from somewhere.
yeah, I don't know, like, can we make it something that residents can go to aside from Arbor Day?
I had a resident, I'm
Poultry?
not gonna mention any names, that asked if they donated X amount of money to facelift that park, if it can be named after them. And I said, that's something that has to go to the council.
Okay.
I didn't say yes or no, it's not to me to say that, but They were willing to donate X amount of dollars to renovate or
We can
uplift
name it after them when they die.
that.
No, I wasn't being
Anyway,
funny, no, I
okay.
wasn't being funny.
We could.
You know, there's a lot of governments don't name
Right.
things after living people.
Right. So,
That's your question.
but they just come and speak to us.
Yeah, that's what
Maybe they-
that was my
Just
recommendation.
give us a check,
That was my
we'll go from there.
recommendation, that was my recommendation. I said come to the council.
Yeah,
Just be
so
careful.
that's just, that was my only addition for that little, what do they
See,
call
I
it?
even put the
Little river
round in
estate.
there, which I think that we're getting back. Madam Manager?
Sure.
Second Sewer Project, I am meeting with Jason next week.
For which one?
Septic Sewer. Both Second Avenue. I want to get Second Avenue done so bad.
It just keep in mind that the septic to sewer, as it relates to phase one, it's not in the abyss. It's our, part of having the resiliency town hall is to bring the residents up to speed with that. And that's really the easement of school. And as we go into legislative session, Northeast Second Avenue needs to be a priority. And just so you know, it has been part of our ask since 2015. It's not like it hasn't been. It just has not been funded.
Any questions on Septic Sewer?
No, just be at the resiliency town hall, at the town hall Saturday.
I said to me, well, I can't,
Yeah, I was just telling
unless
them.
my friend cancels. I'll be there.
I did want to look at the intern pilot program again. Want to see if we could possibly discuss getting that done. I mean, I know we do have a new employee, and I think he's working great, but, you know, we have other projects that are coming along, and he will need some help, because
That's a
this
good
man,
idea.
he is working. I can see the difference.
There's a lot of programs with FIU, with Berry, with Miami-Dade Community College, where they really provide interns. I currently have 2 at my school that is being paid through a program that they came to me. And gosh, in my 12 years, I've never had that. But I say that for government, we really need to take a look at Berry, we need to take a look at FIU, because there is opportunity in the public administration department that people want to be able to come in and really get real life experience. And here they're going to get it.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
And a lot of other municipalities have that. The Miami-Dade League of Cities gives out 3 checks to Miami-Dade college students. So I'm looking to see who are the recipients, to see if they want to potentially come in and intern here in the next couple of months. But definitely look at Miami-Dade Community College, FIU, Berry. Lots of opportunity. I mean, these kids are young and they are smart.
Next one is North Miami Avenue meetings. Here's Sunshine Mountain. That's the property that we're maintaining,
Yes.
but it's the county's property.
Yes, it
And there's a permitting situation too, correct? Or
Yes.
we're trying to find the permit?
is. Well, I brought this to the council a few months ago, that we were approached by the county, who wanted to do some work on the North Miami Avenue Bridge, you know, the replacement. And they haven't started that work yet, and I came to, we've been going back and forth. It turns out we did get permits for those median strips and put in those trees and put in improvements, and so they backed off. And so at present, I mean, we're still maintaining, but they are county owned, and they can very well take over the maintenance as they should, but since we've improved it, we will continue to maintain it. I will keep you all posted if there's something more from there, because that bridge still needs to be replaced, but at present, we're keeping our median strips. We're keeping the landscaping that's on,
But
we're
we
maintaining.
haven't been maintaining
Well,
properly.
our contractor Mitchell Landscaping maintains, I mean, it may not be as well as it should be, and that's something we should talk about, but I'm saying we are still doing it, even though
We're
it's
still
really county owned.
responsible.
We took it on ourselves, but we
No.
can't continue because of the permit.
Can we?
Now, I know what the county wants to do, and then we have to deal with the displacement of those trees and them possibly not putting the trees back?
No, they said they wouldn't, but it's a permit, we have permits for the trees.
Okay,
So until they
clear that up.
clear that up, they aren't gonna touch the trees. So
Okay,
we can
so-
maintain it, but we just,
Okay, so when this came up, the first thing I mentioned to the manager is, I listen, if they're gonna take our meetings, they better take Miami Shores off too. Because they're not gonna come in and take our 3 meetings and leave Miami Shores there. If they're telling me that we cannot have those meetings, the Miami Shores is not gonna have them either. Because Miami Shores has their hedges where it is way like 3 feet to the palm tree and it's full. So they're talking that ours doesn't block it, we don't even have any trees anymore because it's all dead, we just have the palm tree. My recommendation would be, hey, if you're telling me that Miami Shores is okay because you're not gonna touch theirs, well then let's do exactly what Miami Shores has done, and they did that whole full bush right underneath the palm tree. That's probably easier to maintain, because it's just green, you know? So let's emulate or mimic what Miami Shores is doing, because they didn't look to take down theirs,
Well,
and they were gonna come in and take our meetings
Yeah.
down.
but they weren't.
But they're gonna come remove all palm trees, and I said, no. No, you're not gonna remove it. If you're gonna remove ours, you're gonna remove Miami Shores too. And the other thing on North Miami, that probably needs to be redone is that electric box. I had that painted green, it probably needs to be touched up a little bit.
it's peeling.
Yeah.
And that is on our list of items to do with our new.
They're not taking our
We'll have an
meetings.
idea.
So are we
No.
putting our sign back?
We haven't put the sign back yet.
Yeah.
We haven't put it back yet.
No, that sign's been repaired and then taken down again because of another accident. I think we should look at something different, maybe that won't be hit or some way that it doesn't get damaged
Yeah,
again.
because it seems like it's a car magnet.
I think
Well,
so.
because probably the lighting wasn't fixed. Because that lighting was out, that used to have lighting, and then it didn't have lighting, because, you know, somebody came up with this great idea to have these entryways without a maintenance program attached to it. And then some few years ago, I think the maintenance company knocked out the electrical thing, and then they didn't get refixed. So, hey, you know, no great loss, because no great loss in my opinion, but I'd like to see some entry point. I mean, Miami Shores has pineapples all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we should have a peacock or something. I don't need to determine what that's gonna look like, but it'd be nice to have an entry point, an entry point design, and it looked the same everywhere, right here.
Here with a peacock.
It was supposed
But-
to fashion here.
Yeah.
That was the ALE
Yeah, I know.
committee.
I like nice, pretty signs, and we had someone mow down this sign, so we need to replace that one as well. I've not put a, I would like to.
I recommend to the council that, you know, not tonight, but maybe we have a conversation at this Public Works meeting, if that's a Public Works topic, and really talk about what we maybe recommend to the council, you know, like, let's take a look at some designs that we want to be able to, you know, it brand who we are. I mean, Albertaz has got really pretty colors, we have a new, seal, to take, we have a coyote.
He's pretty. He's pretty. He's pretty.
So I really think that if we have an opportunity to be able to negotiate with certain individuals, that we want to brand our city, and so that they know you've just got into Albertal. I know I've gone into Miami Shores and I see the pineapple. If that was that or Baptist. I mean, I just didn't know, you know, and, yeah, no.
Identity.
Yes.
Chair, I think branding and imaging should be on your traffic report.
I can do that. You know what though? The street co-designation was a big project of mine, and part of that project was getting decorative street ornaments. We were able to get the entry signs on Second Avenue or something like that. I think would be a great idea. I'm in touch with the company that did it. So
All yours? Let us know if you know.
it's not a project manager. Street ornamentation that would fall in the streetscape. Tree trimming. Chris.
Yes, that is active. I do not have final numbers on this go-round for the tree trimming. I hope to have that soon. That's on my long email to our CFO and his team for response. I'm hopeful that we are stay within budget budget. I'm sure we did stay with the budget, but you know, I think I told the council before that I would be looking at that period to last year and seeing, you know, the next course of action for the plan of the tree trimming, the annual tree trimming.
I have to say that the timing is perfect, and, you know, I know that everyone has their own opinions about, you know, whether it's being cut too much or too little. I feel a sense of peace in knowing that we've done that right before, you know, hurricanes. So I do think it's something we should continue to do right before hurricane season. I personally think they do a good job, but that's just me, you know, it's not, everybody has their own opinions. But, you know, it's, when I go through the streets and I'm walking my dog, there aren't branches hanging down, you know, so to me, that's important.
Totally agree. And I did want to ask them to take a look at the Mitchell. That it's North Miami Avenue and I want to say 89. That hedge is growing back again, and you have to like almost come out into the road to pass because you can't see.
I'm sorry, that's 89,
I believe it's 89.
northeast or
North,
southern?
it's northwest.
Northwest.
On the, sorry,
It's on, yeah, it's northwest.
southeast corner.
Yeah.
Okay, south.
Sharon,
What he said.
Your top lot, but can I just mention that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the top lot, it was actually, this was brought to my attention a while ago by the women's club, but I forgot it. And so do we allow, residents or, you know, to go and have parties there? Okay, do we charge?
Just, I've seen people set up, I mean, we could, we probably should, but no, we don't.
And then, so we don't require a police officer for that?
But we should.
Okay,
Well,
because
we
we
have
have
events.
for the women's club events. And so, comes back to consistency. I want to make sure we have consistency. And so, I do think personally that we should charge for events at the top lot. That we should, if we're going to have, you know, every park charges a fee.
It's true.
You know, and if we're gonna have requirement for a police officer, then it needs to be for every event. So, I think that's something that we definitely need to look at.
I agree with that. Where I live, we have to pay for our parks as well. So I think that would be appropriate.
And that's additional revenues that can come into our village and, you know, so.
Yeah, it may coincide with why the revenue, why there's been a decrease in the village hall. Well, why went the village hall? We gotta just go to the park for free and still use the bathroom on the inside. But, you know, even more importantly, when they are done with the park, wherever they are, do they pick up the garbage after themselves, or is it our public works side that does that?
Our public work, well, I don't know because I don't live here and like if it's a weekend, I wouldn't know unless we were having an event. But our public works person goes in on Monday mornings and starts.
Yeah, I never really thought of that, but I really think that that's a missed opportunity because it costs to maintain the park.
That's true.
There's wear and tear on the little kids' toys,
Yeah.
on the tarp. You all just replaced the bench, did you
Yes.
not? Yeah. You all replaced the bench, so there's wear and tear. You need to factor in what that wear and tear has looked like, and it's got to go back to a cost. And if it's at a park and it's outside, and there's a bright line with now with a quiet zone, you don't know when the train's coming, they need to have police.
Okay. I'll add that. Thank you.
Seawall project.
Wow, right? Wow. Yeah, well, it's been active for a little while, yeah. A lot new, not a lot. Well, I think that's a whole other conversation with resiliency and septic sewer and all that, and it's a whole new slew of residents that live out there,
I mean, it could
so.
have been done, but everybody wanted something different.
Yeah, you know, you may want to, I mean, you're the chair, you know, go knock on those doors, maybe have a meeting with them out there. There's all new residents. This is nowhere near the same residents anymore that live out there.
A lot of new people.
Yeah, maybe a missed opportunity to go meet them. Maybe they wanna, I don't know, but that's
You know what? That's the town hall.
town hall. you know what, let's go ahead and mention that that you're gonna be doing the town hall and seawall on Saturday. It's part of resiliency, it's strengthening our infrastructure.
Okay, I don't need you to volunteer me to do anything.
You can say that on
Don't
Saturday.
co-sign on anything.
Because the seawall, it's gonna be better time before it comes up.
That's true. I asked for this to be like talk, because I really didn't know what that was.
So Northwest Third Avenue is, an award came to me probably about, my goodness, 5 years ago, if that 4, and she gave me drawings to what she would like Third Avenue to look like, because she lives right there, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
Horseman. I really think that our priority with Horseman needs to be the easement and the nature trail, but that's your call. I mean, that's why that's there. She gave us a whole design for it.
Okay, so she wanted us to do
She
plantings
wants-
or
yeah,
something
plantings on Northwest Third Avenue.
on
'Cause
the,
you-
on the
on the,
school
on the, no,
side.
not in the school, like, there's a school, the fence, and then there's a median
Right.
that belongs to El Portal, and then there's a sidewalk, and then there's a street. So like on that whole green area, that's outside of the school, that's where she wanted it at.
Oh, I'm thinking about,
Northwest,
I'm
behind the
thinking
school,
like-
it's behind the
There's
school.
no sidewalk.
Oh, I know what you're
It's
talking
like,
about.
maybe that's sidewalk, there's a green space,
It's
there's
a
a green
horrible-
space.
It's just like a little ditch,
Yeah,
like there.
yeah, it's like a whole area.
Looks
So she wants to
terrible.
plant there?
She wants to just do something that,
School property.
so, that's why
You know
it's
what?
been
That,
there.
that is a citizens initiative. I'll sit where and tell
When
us.
we clean up, when we do the cleanup, that's an area that we really,
The village-wide cleanup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because everything's all.
yeah. It looks terrible, that's how I know.
Number 11, Your Honor.
Oh, is that me?
Mhm.
So, I want a dog park. That's not a big secret, right? And I know that we're gonna have a dog park somewhere. Just where, I'm working on it. Hey, we've been in lots of conversations.
We could be.
Could be one right down here, so dog park. I want a
Little
dog
River
park.
State Park.
And I think our residents, and by the way, I just came back from a conference, and now you can certify your city to be pet friendly. And there's a lot of money. I sat there and watched cities of our size and a little bigger get money from Walmart, from Petco, lots of money with projects that they were coming up with. So I've mentioned this to the manager, but I'll be very honest, I know I've said it again, and I'm gonna say it again, but we've been in a lot of different meetings, and this is one that is on my queue, that I want to touch base because it's fantastic to make your city pet friendly, and they're saying pet improve the quality of our lives. It makes people happier overall, and they said it's I forgot the word that they used, so I will be bringing that forward. Nemo, Nero, and Nina. Nina.
So how do we move forward with this?
Can I say just about the Little River Estates Park is too small for requirements for the dog park. You
Oh,
have to
it's
have-
too
But
small.
isn't it too, but it's like next to the
But I've seen some really small ones.
There's certain requirements that come with
It's
the dog park.
in the water right now too,
Yeah.
We may not be able to do that.
right, the runoff.
But, yeah, we could look into.
So how do we follow up so that we can become a Pet City USA?
I'm going to share the information. I've got to tell you, I have not done it yet
What's the
because
perks
I've shared.
of it?
I was share. Excuse me.
What's the perks of it?
You get money. So you have to come up with a way to make your town pet friendly. Whether it's put something at the village hall or, the doggy do stations was one of them. We got to upscale what they are, Maybe put a water area. There's a whole slew of them that I have. Again, I've not shared it with the manager or the council. That's going to be part of my report. But because we have been working on so many issues and meeting with, that we just have not gotten to that just yet. We were sort of talking about cybersecurity and we're talking about development agreements and Proservia, we just haven't gotten to that yet, but I do have it. I'll scan it, Denise, I'll send it to you, and then we can take a look at it. But I really think that if the 5 of us put our sort of thoughts together and how we come up with a project, I sort of think that might be a quick, nice win for the town.
Find the land first.
No, it's not even just the land, it's not just coming up with
Oh,
a dog
so-
park.
oh, okay.
Like, there's other ways that you get monies. Like, you came up with a great idea on how you just made your city that much more pet friendlier. And there's a whole slew of them, and I will send, you know what, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna send you the link.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna send it to, as I said, I just said, looked at her, and I said, I'm gonna send you the
Send me
link.
anything.
Okay.
And I didn't know what this one was. Rail Northwest 86th Street, 8K.
Unless you got, when Jason was here, we had talked about a dog park, oh no, but that's Northwest.
That's Northwest.
Oh, that's because it was broken.
What was broken?
There used to be a rail, and a car hit it, and I asked David Roseman to fix it, and I think he fixed it. And it cost $8K.
Wow.
Wait.
It cost $8K to remove it and put the wall there, I believe, because it was taken out and now there's a
Oh,
wall
for the
there.
park.
The Little River Estates Park.
The arbor park. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what it was.
Wait, I didn't know what it was, and then Chris was like,
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's what it was.
Okay. that can be taken off. Completed. Still saying like 5 years. Okay, that concludes the tracking report. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped good welfare first part, sorry, oh well, my, maybe I run through that one too. Good and welfare, would anybody like to come up and say anything? You already greeted everybody.
Omar Nickerson,
I can't hear you.
Omar Nickerson, 8866 Northeast Second Avenue. How's everybody doing? Good to see you. Only thing I wanted to say was, what Councilperson Roman said was a wonderful idea with the tot lot, because it will bring more money in. The only thing I wanted to say was just to kind of like be proactive in like our thought. Like we just have to find a way to, when that happens, like there's two things, right? So one thing is when that happens, we may in the future have residents, let me say the first thing first. The first thing is, one thing that may happen, the people that rent it out may not want residents to be able to access it that day. Because it's kind of like when you're renting out the village hall, like you're renting out for your party, your theme. So I don't know, I'm just saying this might be kind of the thought.
The pavilion, but you can't rent the whole park.
See, that's what I'm saying, I don't know. Because when we're talking about, yeah, because when we're talking about like cleanup, or we're talking about, you know, like upkeep and stuff like that, so if I'm renting it, then, and a bunch of people come and they're like making a mess, and then it's like, oh, Omar, you rented the park and you made a mess. And it's like, well, no, you guys there was like 20 other people there. It's not my fault, you know what I mean? So that might come up, I'm just saying. Councilperson Roman, what I was saying was, your top line idea, I think, is wonderful. I just want us to be proactive in like our thought. I said, so I just want us to be, you know, just think that maybe down the line, it might come up to where people who rent the park, they might come to a point to where they may not want other people in the park while they're renting it, because they're like, we're paying, it's not like paying for the village hall, like a bunch of people just can't come into my party. And so what Councilperson Mathis was kind of saying was, well, no, they're renting a pavilion, you know what I mean, but not the whole park. I said, but then if we're talking about upkeep and things like that, they might say, well, you know, if the park ends up messed up, we might not be able to blame them if there are other people there also, because you can't say who.
Right.
So that just might be something we have to think about.
I think the space is small enough that if we had to
That's all.
rent it out and close it for the rest of the people for a couple of hours, I don't think that would be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said the second thing was, then you might, the second thing is then later we'll probably get a couple of people in our ear like that, we're going to the park that day, and when you guys start blocking the park off. I'm just saying so that this part that might come
You
up.
know,
That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting it out there, that's all. I try to be, try to see the future sometimes on what will be up there and what people might be saying. That's all. Thank you very much, you guys.
Well,
You guys
you know,
are
may
the
I
We know what you're saying, we know what you're saying.
May I say something? I'm almost inclined to say that we don't rent the park, because guess what? It's gonna get rented every Saturday and Sunday, and then we're gonna have residents can't use their own park. I don't know, we really have to think about that, because you would have to close the, if we had more parks and if it was bigger, then, the village can use it as a resource for the 4th of July. But if I had kids and I wanted to go to the park and I pay taxes so you can maintain my park, and you're telling me that I can't come because it's rented to a person that doesn't live here,
No, but I think everyone needs to, I mean, you can't rent the hall unless you live here, right?
Yeah,
No,
no,
you
there's a fee, there's a higher
Higher
fee if
fee.
you don't live here.
Oh, I wouldn't rent the park to someone who doesn't live here.
Or maybe do one Saturday, I don't know, it really needs to be, it really needs to be thought out because the park would be rented out all the time.
Right, no, I
And then
don't,
one of the parents could use the park, they can't use it Monday to Friday because they work.
right.
Well, Ronnie wants to lock them out.
No, but I'm saying it should be just for residents. In my mind, it was already just residents. And so let's say we don't rent it, we need to stop the parties then.
Only use the village hall.
I'm sorry, what?
Only the village hall they could rent it. Oh, excuse me, only the village hall, not the park.
Right,
But
but there are parties happening currently.
Oh, yes.
On weekends.
Oh, yes, they're at the park.
And so how do we stop those parties from happening?
Right, I don't know.
Shut them down.
Police officer?
Shut them down.
Well, first I think we have to, I think we have to educate the residents and then take it from there. I mean, because maybe there are outside people coming to have a party, we don't know. And guess what? Let me tell you when we're gonna find out when an accident happens.
Yeah. And they wanna-
I know, sorry, come Iceberg Nickerson. But this is what conversation is important, and I really think it needs to be thought out.
Okay.
I think it needs to be thought out, I don't, okay, all right. All right,
Well,
good
as
job.
my counterparts got that, and I served on a rec board before, so I will let you all know, but I
Okay.
would research and come up with.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Anybody else good welfare? Just to note, I have spoken with Miami Gardens. They don't have any vehicles currently to donate to us, but I'm still waiting to hear back from Pinecrest. Miami Beach says they may have Palmetto Bay, Miami Lakes, and Homestead. So we're waiting to hear back from them. With that being said, can I get an adjournment?
I'll second.
Up to move in second, all in favor? All opposed?
All right.
9 o'clock.
8:59.